we started a wait list for a community. And one of the things I want to do is when the community comes on is I want them to take whatever health concerns they have. Before they ask a question, I want them to ChatGPT their question and then ask us the question, and then we compare what the doctors with 30 years experience have to say compared to...
Have you been prompting AI, though, with your knowledge right now?
What do you mean?
Because if you remember how you taught me to do this, and I was doing it, was telling, hey, ChatGPT or whatever the hell it is, what do you know about Dr. Stephen Giannopoulos? Okay, did you know that he does this? Did you know that?
Well, yeah.
So if you're prompting it, it's going to remember that. Therefore, if they're asking questions that you've already prompted, they're going to get the same answer that you're giving.
So I take the reports that I write on blood chemistry, so that's my interpretation.
Yeah.
And I plug it in.
Yeah, buddy.
And I bounce back and forth between... for blood chemistry, I'm using Perplexity a lot.
Yes.
For formulas that allow me to write a report quicker, I'm using Claude, and I got ChatGPT for general. I'm using Grok a lot too.
I don't even know which one. What's Grok?
That's the Twitter one.
Oh.
That's Elon Musk.
Which one are you using?
I just have ChatGPT.
There you go.
That's
Yeah.
I don't really use it. I just have it to whip up contracts really quick.
One of actually it was my therapist. She's like, you're using AI as a thought partner. I like the way she put that. It's a thought partner. That's exactly what it is, right? You're throwing things off of it, this, that, the other thing, and I've been using it like that. Like a lot of my emails and everything like that. We've had some
but
crazy
for health,
that makes
the use case that everybody was excited about was this guy who plugged in his dog's blood work into Claude, and it was able to diagnose a rare autoimmune disease the dog had that 3 or 4 vets missed.
Yeah.
And it saved the dog's life. So they're like, oh, clearly AI is going to take over healthcare. And to a degree, there's for sure there's a use case for that. But when it comes to making recommendations about, your diet, your lifestyle, not necessarily what disease do you have, or what disease are you headed for, and what to do about it, just has no clinical experience.
Right.
So just think about it. It's like almost having in front of you the smartest 100 or 1,000 medical students who graduated yesterday in front of you to give you answers. They're super smart, but they have no clinical experience.
Right. Yeah.
They have no...
We talked about this last week. There's that one patient. She's been to doctors for 6 months, this, that, the other thing. She's nothing, and in 12 seconds, she's better.
Right.
How does that happen? That's clinical experience.
Right.
That's all that was.
Right. Knowing
I'm no better than anybody else. I just seen it.
So what is that story that everybody says? The machine was broken, and the technician came and hit it with a hammer.
Right.
Yes.
And charged $10,000.
Yes.
He goes, it took you 2 seconds. You just hit it with a hammer. He goes, yeah, but it didn't cost anything to hit it with the hammer, but knowing where to hit it.
That's right.
Was the so AI doesn't seem to have that.
Doesn't know where to hit it.
Right.
Oh yeah. Look at that. Look at this guy. Why don't you come up with some prophetic?
I got nothing for that.
Nothing. Do you have nothing? You have nothing to add?
No.
What he was trying to
Lauren's
say?
doing a lot of stuff with AI.
What do all the marketing stuff, right?
She's doing stuff for herself. I'm not even sure.
What is she doing?
I'm not sure.
Do you guys talk at all?
Not about that kind of stuff.
What do you guys talk about? What's it?
Because you're so easy to talk to. She's like, it's easier for me to talk to ChatGPT than my husband.
Right.
It's easier for her to talk to the wall. But
Right.
wait,
ChatGPT understands me.
Right, listens to
Chris
me.
doesn't listen to me.
what is a typical kind of like? All right, so today's Friday. You're going to the golf thing. You'll probably be home by 4 o'clock today, right? You gonna see her? 6 o'clock. All right, fine. You're 6 o'clock on a Friday.
I'm not going to see her. She's got a birthday party to go to.
So you don't have to talk.
No. I talked to her this morning.
What'd you guys talk about? What was the conversation?
What are you doing? What are you doing? See you
I
later.
want to do the podcast.
Going to do the podcast.
Got it.
I'll be home at 9:15. You
All right.
Going to be home? Yep. All right. I'll see you when I get back.
That was it.
What else I got to talk to?
What about you? What was your conversation with Maria this morning?
Oh, and she made me rub her ass.
Like therapy or
Therapy.
or yeah.
No, no. She does. She reminded me, can you rub my ass? And I don't like morning sex. That's how.
That's the conversation, right?
Well, just stop.
That was not an invitation.
Right, it was not an invitation.
First of all,
that was not an invitation for penetration. That was
right.
my ass massaged.
Right.
Like, okay, great.
There's no initiation anymore. There's no, it's so, the married sex is just different. It's not the same. There's
Not
nothing.
the same as when you were 19. And,
Well, I just want, I see it on other platforms. Like, there are girls out there that are freaking begging for it, you know?
Yeah. That's so funny.
I may not have a lot of testosterone, but I'm still horny, man. Come on, I want it, So
that's what girlfriends are for.
yeah, there you go. What was your conversation? I had a very deep.
No.
conversation with
So
Kelly.
my conversation at 3 a.m. was, "Why are you punching me in my back?" And she's like, "You're snoring."
Right. You're hot. Roll over.
I
Don't
haven't
touch
had that
me.
one in a while, but I have a child in between us only because my in-laws have been in town because Hudson graduated from 5th grade. Now this is a thing, a 5th grade graduation.
Right.
So the in-laws
Graduation
came in,
for
and
everything.
yeah,
Pretty good.
and
That's
So
great.
now he's going to middle school.
Everybody
Yeah.
gets a trophy.
everybody gets a trophy.
Keeping them weak.
Is that what you like? You just want to keep them weak?
No, that's how what they're trying to do to your kids. Keep them weak. Give them celebrations constantly so they feel defeated.
Well, I'm doing a
deflated,
very good job at
So-
defeating my child. He's not winning in my house. That's for sure. He
Crush
goes,
it.
Dad, why are you always mad at me? I'm like, dude, I'm not. I'm
Then
just
stop
trying to
being a
teach him.
pussy.
I want him
You're,
to do.
you're in 5th grade. Fucking man up.
He lost his Apple Watch.
Oh, no.
Right? And here I'm thinking, good morning.
Hey.
I'm thinking to myself, well, here I got Janopoulos over here losing his Oura Ring 5 times. So what am I mean, there we have an adult. I'm like, but he lost his Apple Watch. And I'm really like,
He lost it.
Lost it. So I'm like,
Yeah,
I want him to be responsive. I ask him every single day. It's not like I haven't trained
How are
him.
you?
And I don't train by good morning. I train him by showing. Every night, my iPhone gets plugged in.
9 and dine. Don't suck.
He's going to suck.
He does suck.
He's going to
Good.
suck. I'm going to make sure he sucks. Oh, it's not. I'm very used to it. It's I have no problems.
bet-
I haven't been
can
able
we
to hit.
bet? Can we
Yeah,
bet on
I
this?
was thinking about throwing some bets out. It's really going to depend on. I already talked to them yesterday. Depends on the crowd there because it's going to be a nice day. However, yesterday was Juneteenth. They said that course was packed. I was like, it was 100 degrees with 7,000% humidity.
Did you get a haircut
Packed.
for this? Of course I did. Yeah.
So if it's
You wanted
quiet
it-
out there this evening,
You look good. Your hair's looking good. It's starting to look like Pete.
hey, maybe you could start acting like him too.
Oh, you'd have to actually do stuff.
Yeah, do something. Yeah, well, that's starting to act like him.
There you go.
Hey-o.
Have to get shit done.
What were we talking about?
The watch.
Yeah, so I was like, I show him every day. Hudson, where's Daddy's phone go? You plug it in. And yeah, so why can't you just bring it, plug it in, and be done with it this way? Because then when he goes, he's getting a little bit more independent. He's riding his bike all over town. I just want him to have the watch on so that he can communicate with us. I'm not getting him a phone, so he can communicate. It's either dead or this. I'm like, just plug it in every night. So this way, no matter what you do, either you use it or you don't use it, it's available for you. You know.
I love
This
it.
is
And
my
he lost
third
it.
iWatch, Apple Watch. But
You're not helping me, buddy.
Not because I lose it, because
Okay.
the first 2 I broke.
Got it.
So then the way they sold me this one was the ad was they were hitting you with a hammer. I'm like, all right, give me
Sucker.
the hammer-proof Apple Watch and I'll take it.
So the $10,000 hammer-proof Apple Watch hasn't broken yet.
It's far from $10,000, but it's double the price of
Yeah.
the one that you can't hit with a hammer.
You wearing it?
No.
Your waist monitor ring?
I got it.
So
Ow, my nose.
my sleep
yours?
has been terrible.
Oh, I haven't even checked. Here, we can put it up right now. My phone's on here. You guys want to see my stuff? Here we go. Ready? There's my wife. Hold on, we're gonna go quickly through there. I know exactly where this is.
I got pictures of your wife if you want some.
Oh, 37. Poor sleep.
Oh my God, 37.
That was the first. I've been in the 90s, and I'm like, there's no way I'm
37. I can't be
There's
asleep.
no way I'm in
That's
the 90s.
not asleep.
Dude, it's been tough. I've been 93. There we
you
go.
I
It
was
just,
like, there's no way.
no, I've been
80,
you wanna-
80.
84, 89.
What's going on?
77 on Tuesday, but
You ate late.
on Tuesday. No, I was up at 4:30.
Oh, I'm
and
kicking your ass, buddy.
I only had 5 hours and 55 minutes on Tuesday.
Hold on.
I gotta
86.
get mine. I gotta get mine. back on.
91. 91 was my low.
I tried to give you money for it, and you never sent me your.
Oh, stop.
91 is
yourself.
my low.
By the way,
So I had a string of 90 somethings.
91 is my low.
Oh, 85. I had an 85.
Dude.
All right.
I have not been sleeping well.
96. You suck.
Cortisol's through the roof.
What about heart rate? What's your
this is
resting?
where Maria was punching me in my neck.
I love that.
My HRV is good.
What's your HRV?
Can't compare HRVs. They're independent of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I would need to know
No.
now.
No.
97 pulse ox.
You could compare pulse oxes, but you can't
I'm,
compare
I'm
HRVs.
by the way, I have never hit
It's like
100 in my
penis
life.
sizes HRVs. They're independent. Can't change them.
It's a great analysis.
So I'm gonna start a whole process of improving my HRV with breathing techniques that I'm gonna learn from Dr. Moore.
What happened to Dr. Jan?
Dr. David Moore. Well,
Oh.
he's got breathing techniques. Dr. Jan is the VO2 guy.
Yeah.
Dr. Moore is the heart coherence breathing, the heart math guy. He's certified. He's been doing it for like 10 years. He's great with that stuff. So he's going to bring me through a training program. Best Life Doctor on Instagram. Dr.
Nice.
David Moore. He's great.
Oh, look at you. Nice throw over
Local
there.
Jersey guy.
Really?
Hey, Jersey.
He had On Track Chiropractic in Clifton. He sold it to Dr. Rob Bello from Waldwick. Waldwick? Is that a town here?
Yeah.
Waldwick, yeah.
There's a lot of Bellows out there. I never heard that name growing up, but there's a lot of Bellows. There's a Bello Chiropractic over in North Bergen in Hudson County. Maybe the same. I thought it was Frank Bello, but I don't know. There's another Bello in North Bergen. Two different Bellows chiropractors, not family.
Weird.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm sure one of them has got to be this Bello, or is there
I
that
doubt
many
it, though.
Bellows out there?
But he's not in North Bergen. He only has the practice in Clifton and the
Right.
one over in Waldwick.
Got it.
I like it.
Any new news in Monticello or anything like
yeah,
that?
the sales guy reached out to me. I'm trying to figure out a time for us to go.
Mondays, Wednesdays, or
For
Fridays?
the practice or the
or
Wednesday?
I was even
Practice. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Next Friday. I'm going to try to get him to come down, this associate doctor to come down sometime this week.
almost like train with you a little bit, or at least
I just want
see.
him to see and then visit.
Is
and
it, can he envision himself doing what you guys
yeah,
do?
like, because that's not going to be, we're not going to make drastic change, but we're going to just try to double retention so we can double collections and with an already sitting there thing. So
You don't think you would like to use more AI and all that kind of stuff, driven stuff, to bring overhead down as well?
I think there's only one team member sitting there.
Got it.
I don't think it's like, it's probably a mom. I think there's just only one person sitting there.
Okay.
And she probably just sits there and answers the phones. It's not like our places with teams full of people. It's probably the size of this spot right here, probably super small, shag carpets and
Wood paneling,
Wood paneling,
popcorn
yeah.
ceilings.
But I had 2 people reach out to me this week complaining that there's no decompression. So I think it's going to be the big.
Where do you mean you had 2 people reach out to you? That's what are the? Obviously you manifest this,
well,
but
you have 5 decompression
Yeah,
tables, so
but I had
you're kind of known for it.
2
Right.
people from up that way who have family members up there that are patients of mine. Like, my mom has this; she needs decompression. She did a search in Orange County. There's nobody, not one person. So I think I think that will be beneficial. I think that's going to be a good source of extra.
I think
cheap tables.
not doing it de novo and getting this clinic, but converting it ultimately into decomp. I get your philosophy, and I'm fine with it. I'm not going to be of any assistance, and I feel bad for that. But
I don't need
on the
you
other
for that.
side, building a brand of decompression, if there's none, you're looking at
We're going to build a brand.
So those
of-
guys just opened
brand.
father-son team in Rockland. They are just Disc Centers of America.
Yeah.
So they're I guess, a national.
Yeah, Dissenters of who's Dissenters of America?
Jay and his dad.
No, who owns Dissenters of America? That's a group. You just join the group.
You got to wear a white coat though.
Yeah, maybe even some scrubs, and you have to call yourself doctor. Yeah. Yep.
Crazy.
Crazy, right? Crazy to help people.
Dumb. And take insurance.
And take insurance.
I gave my second patient their Denerol.
Very nice.
Per your recommendation. Again, I'm glad I had you, because I'm looking at this. Good morning, Doc. And I'm looking at the reversal of the curve starting at like lower C spine, like C5, C6. You're like, nope, you got to put it up at like C3.
Depends.
Well, you told me, so I just told her.
Okay.
So we're going to start. That was yesterday. And I I said, be competitive. I want 40 straight days. But when you take out the dental roll, it's actually 50 days. But I'll take 40 because I know what your treatment plan is. And I'm looking forward to it. And I'm like, I wish I had the room or the capability of doing this x-ray, the stress x-ray on the dental roll, because I would like to see what you're talking about. She goes, why can't we do it? I'm like, I can't put a table in my x-ray room. It just, she goes, all right, so can we take an x-ray afterwards? I'm like, you know what? Yes, I will. Will I see a change? If she does it for 40 days, she ramps up from 3 minutes to 15 to 20 minutes in 40 days, will we see a change?
You should see a change unless it's in the wrong spot.
Got it.
But what you can do is just have her lay on it for 5 minutes and then go take the x-ray.
Really?
Yeah.
It'll stay for...
No, it'll stay for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Enough to get the x-ray.
Yeah.
That's the problem with all of these Atlas orthogonals, and not there's anything wrong with those. Just,
I get it.
they do an adjustment, stimulate mechanoreceptor and proprioceptor response, then take a post X-ray within
Immediately.
Same thing.
So of
It's
course
the same
it's gonna be
thing.
great.
It's the same thing in the
Got it.
scoliosis world.
Right.
It's the same thing. They're immediately taking the X-ray.
And then they're saying it's improving.
Right.
And then within 10, 15 minutes later, because there's no, ligament changing capabilities.
There's no proprioceptive change. There's no nothing.
No.
This is important information to know.
Yeah. So you could lay her, again, it depends on the tolerance. I have some patients who can't start out with that without being super sore. So, but I think if you were to do 3 to 5 minutes, you could get an idea.
Got it.
Of how it would.
But ideally, you take the stress X-ray with it on there.
You got to have a bench. I mean,
Dude,
I
I'll
literally
take
have
that bench right there if I
I
had
literally
to.
have an IKEA bench.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, like I paid $40 for it. Slide it on there and lay it
Dude.
on there. I don't have a
Dude,
white coat.
reimbursements
you
are
built
not
it
the same
yourself.
as they used to be,
But
man.
You built it
I put
yourself.
it myself with the no work.
You better watch out. You better
instructions.
start tightening that up. Like every week, you better just make sure that those screws are tight. Because those
Yeah.
guys tend
So
to
any bench
loosen up.
any bench you can get in there is fine.
No, I get it. I mean, I could even use that bench or
Yeah.
whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I
it won't matter.
yeah.
Because you want to make sure she's going to lay on it for 40 visits. Because you're at the phase where your education is not
No, and I tell them that.
so that you're in the first 10 years I was in practice, my focus was on the correction, and it's devastating when someone doesn't correct, because then you just spent 40 visits, all their money, and you feel like it was bad.
Yeah.
So you're at that where you're putting the correction on the hook of the results of their health.
Yeah.
And that's wrong, but for you it's a good start.
It's still better than not. But and I blame it on you anyway. I just told
Yeah,
her.
yeah,
I told her about it. I specifically called you by name, Dr. Chris.
That's fine.
From New City.
I don't care.
I said, "This is." He looked at your X-ray. I went over it with him.
I don't
and
remember, but show me again. I'll do it.
It's all right. It's too late.
Yeah.
Can't make a change now.
So
I mean, it
that's
was
a-
yesterday. She's already 1 day into her curve correction.
Nice. I'll fix it.
Still better. However, I did tell you that the other guy reported back to me. He goes, "It's working."
Yeah, of course it is.
But again, you didn't see him. You just, again, based off of one X-ray and his age, you're like, I think you need to put it here. He put it there, and it was working. Right? Obviously, a better analysis and better everything would probably get better results. It's not going to get worse.
I've started doing it for 30 years.
Rookie. One of these days, you'll figure it out. I mean, you just,
Hey,
yeah.
I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Not really.
You're teaching. But teaching is learning.
You know it all. It's not a practice. It's a.
He's finally out of practice.
Constantly evolving. But
Yeah.
I know as much as I care to know. Anything at this point, I'm like, it's not that important. Thoracic spine is, over the last 12, 15 years, has transitioned into a primary source of correction. So you can correct the thoracic spines and lumbar spines heal, cervical spines curves get better. So
What about
it's
feet?
coupling.
She was asking about her feet.
I don't touch anything off the spine.
Yeah, but
I
it's
let
going to make
Dr.
her whole
Taylor
body
do it.
feel
Yeah,
function
yeah.
better, right?
Yeah,
So I said
like orthotics.
she's got sesamoiditis, like I had.
God.
I told her what to do. I told her what I did. So I just went through a horrible episode of sesamoiditis.
Castor oil.
No, I did my shockwave and I did my laser.
Put castor oil on
Yeah,
everything.
of course. Yeah, Windex.
Castor
Right.
oil. I live on
He knows all
castor
about
oil.
the Windex. Come on. But I did shockwave on Monday. I did laser Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Shockwave on Friday. What lasers? Da, da, da. I was from not being able to put a sheet on top of my toe to playing golf in 4 days.
Nice.
For the first time, because I haven't had shockwave and I haven't used laser. I'm like, I know you just got there's a solution
So
to
what
this.
is the mechanism for shockwave?
It's using acoustic waves to create the healing.
Whoa. explain that. How does
Scientifically?
Yeah. What?
Well, we have extracorporeal radial shockwave. That is also focal shockwave, but our radial shockwave is causing angiogenesis, right? So blood blood vessel growth. This, that, the other thing. Excuse me. It's also sending a shock into the body, so that means that the brain is going to be more.
You have to respond.
You have to respond to it, right? So, in essence, the research shows that it's best for more chronic injuries because it's almost like making them re-acute again, so that you can re-heal it properly, as opposed to something that is chronic that has healed incorrectly. And when you're saying incorrectly, I hate saying that because I hate saying the body makes mistakes. I'm just not into that. The body doesn't make mistakes. So, but to break up the scar tissue, to break up the adhesions and the stuff that happened because of the hypoxia and whatnot, and you're able to then kind of retrain the area. For me, I think it was just about probably the inflammation and all that kind of stuff. I was able to break that up, create more circulation in the area to allow that area to heal faster. When it comes to more scientific, I can't give you the answer to that, but I can refer you to somebody who knows.
It just works.
It just works.
It works.
It just
So
works, man.
we had a case in grand rounds with our group this week, and it was great because the functional medicine world attracts people who are just completely anti-medicine altogether. So this lady gets diagnosed with hypothyroidism, and she's given medication. She doesn't like the way she feels, and she gets off of it. And she gets off of the medication, and her thyroid stimulating hormone, or TSH, is 125. So just to give you an idea, the ideal is between 1.5 and 3, and then laboratory high is above 4.5. 125 is like ridiculous, right? It's frank hypothyroidism. Thyroid hormone is absolutely necessary for the function of every cell in your body, from your hair to your toes and everything in between. But she's like, I'm not taking medicine. So she goes years with a TSH of ridiculous.
Right.
She's like, but then I tried homeopathy, and it went from 125 down to 80. So it was working, but then it went up to 90. So then I tried taking desiccated thyroid, and it went down to 70. And I'm like, lady, 70, that's ridiculous. It's not like, who cares if it's 70 or 125? It's not a measure of severity. You have the inability to make the hormone. A hormone you can't live without. So, running away from medicine is not your strategy, right? And her hypothyroidism was caused by autoimmune disease. So I said, you got two things going on. One is hypothyroidism. That requires medication. I don't know any other. Now, there's different options for medication, whatever. But the other thing is, why is your immune system attacking you? It's a whole different conversation. So, again, when you frame things for people in a way that, especially when they have your trust, right? They see you're an alternative doctor, you're not traditional medicine, you're going to support me, you're going to agree with every decision I ever made to go anti-medicine. I'm like, no, that was not smart. That was actually stupid. So the first thing you do is get the proper prescription, get your numbers in order, and then we'll deal with what caused it, right? So the effect is one thing. Sometimes you need medication for that effect, and we'll get to the cause. But don't think just running away from medication is the best strategy.
That's not what we're trying to say. There's always a time and a place.
Right.
So,
But it's a great case because, again, we attract, and your wife knows this very well, we attract, some wacky thinking people, and we have to know how to manage them, in a way that's...
or normal thinking people. They're normal thinking, just
No,
redirected.
but they... Right.
Yeah, they just need redirection. They have the right understanding, but...
And they have the right
purpose.
instinct.
That's
They have
what
the
I mean.
right instinct
Yeah.
to say, look, I
No,
don't trust.
but
I
sometimes
don't
you have
trust.
to.
But now, the last 5 years, we certainly see a drop in trust.
Yeah.
everything.
in the establishment.
Right.
Yeah, and the severity of people's problems is insane too.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it's.
I believe you guys. The toxic world that we live in is just, it's different than it was 100 years ago, 500 years ago. We're just not going to have the same. But we have to evolve to the toxic world at some point, right?
No.
No?
The reason we're not going to evolve is because the damage is done after you're the age of having babies, for the most part. I mean, obviously but evolutionary pressures are going to only come if it affects your ability to have children. But if if your disease processes start at 35, 40 years of age, well, you've already had your kids, and there's no reason to evolve to protect you from the toxicities.
Interesting. Toxins are around everywhere all the time, right? You're saying more like the stuff that we
they don't
eat.
kill you immediately, right?
Yeah.
So if we needed to evolve to something that was killing us at 13 years of age, the evolutionary pressure would be there for people to adapt to that toxicity. But because it's just causing chronic disease and misery.
Does it have anything to do with the fact that it's mostly man-made too, as opposed to a natural stress? Or
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not an expert on evolution in any way or evolutionary biology, but you could pretty much say that we're not going to evolve to adapt better to flame retardant chemicals in our pajamas, because the effect of those chemicals has to compound with all the other toxicities that over years is going to have an impact on our quality of life. Because we believe that we should live well, from 40 to 80. But evolutionary pressures don't care what happens to you after you're 40. It cares what
once you're not
happens to you.
baby bearing and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So they don't care about glyphosate?
Correctamundo.
Yeah. Did you know that?
I did not know.
No. You're going to get out there to that golf course and you're going to be sucking all that fertilizer in and everything like
I'm
that.
going to wear a mask. Want the big things on the side?
Yeah. That might actually make you play better golf.
Do you guys know Brad Glowacki? Mm-hmm. I love Brad. So Brad travels a lot, and he just posts. He has all these posts of him in the airport doing a selfie with somebody with a mask behind him. And they're always looking at him.
I don't want to get upset. I don't want to get upset. I want everybody to make their own decisions and be comfortable with their own. But wearing masks out and outside, even it makes me so angry. Because the reason why they're wearing the mask is causing the complete opposite effect. They're getting sicker as a result of that mask.
I let them rock.
It pisses me off. Why does it make me so angry? Can we have a therapy session right now, please?
There was actually a doctor that was interviewed yesterday on the news, on one of the main news channels. She was one of the people who was either fired or left the NIH. That whole group of people that got let go.
Yes.
And her argument was, and he's actually changing the rules for children to get COVID vaccines. I'm like, children getting COVID? Like, what are you talking about? What has ever been the issue since March of 2020 with children and COVID? Like, why do you believe children need COVID vaccines? What's the science that is
why do they need
ignored?
chickenpox vaccines?
Well, yeah, whatever. I mean, you could make arguments.
We can say it now.
You could
we can say it.
Can't say.
We're not live.
Maxine.
Oh, right.
Maxine.
We're not live.
We're not live.
Right.
No. The CVD Maxine.
Yeah. I don't know.
But there's this, and people are listening to that and they're like, who do I believe? I mean, it's insane.
It is.
There's a lot of skepticism out there. People should question. But I mean, not everybody is in it for the wrong reason. I do believe that there's people out there that really think this is the right move, and it's wholeheartedly. They're not just trying to make a buck or manipulate, right? I mean,
No, of course. Doctors go to school for the same reason that we went to school. They're good people trying to do good things. But what do they accept as evidence? A lot of it is groupthink.
Yep, that's the problem.
A lot of it is top-down groupthink. All of my colleagues feel this way. My whole social structure is built around this model of WHO, NIH, CDC, American Heart Association, American Diabetes Association, American Pediatric Association, the clinician, like it's top down. This is the way we think. And breaking away from that is nearly impossible.
Great. I don't mind it being tough, but like at least be open to a conversation.
Yeah. It's not only their social structure, but it's also their ability to get a job, their research funding, their right. If you're a researcher,
they're controlled.
Yeah,
they're controlled, and they're also just going with the best information that they think they have at that moment.
Can you imagine applying for a grant at the NIH to say, I want to test the safety of these whatever vaccines, just to make sure that the studies that we're using that say they're safe are accurate? Who's going to give you that grant? Nobody. And then they're going to question every grant proposal you'll ever write.
Right. And then if you try to do it on your own, you'll end up dead somewhere.
Yeah, and there's just no way to fund it. There's just no way to fund it on your own. Private money can't. It's impossible. It has to be public funds.
Yep. So that's what that is.
That's what that is. And there we have it.
And that's why getting sick is so confusing and complex. Staying healthy is very simple.
Right.
So just stay healthy. I remember when my dad passed away in 2003. We're in the hospital. It's his last week of his life, and we're just being hit from all directions with what's going on. And his doctor just comes up to me and he goes, "Listen, just don't get sick." Like that was his advice.
That's his advice.
Just don't get sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how do you do it, Basil? How do you do it?
Just do the best you can.
Yeah.
But we're all responsible to have an understanding of what health is, the simplicity of health, not to sit there and get your 50% of your food from a box, a bag, or a jar.
I just don't eat people. I'm just blown away that people don't understand the severity of food.
Yeah.
Just eating, period.
Right.
Like even the healthy, that's not healthy.
Your healthiest choices are your healthiest choices that you have. But even like eating in restaurants, it's just pure poison.
I don't even people care who are trying people who are trying to do something for their health, they, a lot of them will count calories,
right,
or weigh their food or whatever. That requires you to purchase food that actually has a label on it.
Right.
The fact that it has a label
already is a problem.
Is the problem. Like when you buy eggs, there's no label. When you buy broccoli, there's no label. When you buy a steak, there's no label.
And even that's like tough with the egg choices, the meat choices. What your food's cooked in. It's like you could make great. You're at a restaurant. You were like, I'm gonna get this, and this. That there's no question. It's not good.
It's still better of the bad. It'll say, listen, I want a steak. I want it grilled. Or I don't want it cooked in seed oils.
Steak you can make at home. It's the same toxic steak. Commercialized meat is commercialized meat, right?
What if it's organic?
Well, if it's grass-fed, then it's going to breed grass-fed. But if it's not,
the grass could be toxic.
Right.
Right. Well, that's what I mean.
Right. And certifying grass as being organic is very difficult because each cow requires an acre. So if you have 300 cattle, that's 300 acres of grass that's required. How do you certify that all of that grass is organic?
And by the way, if the farm here is organic and the farm here is not organic, you don't think the glyphosate is going?
But you just make your best choices.
Of course.
That's why the restaurants just irk me.
So you don't go out to eat?
I very rarely
go
out to eat.
How are we supposed to go out to a store?
I mean, once in a while, but
So last Friday night we went to.
Oh, he's going to tell us how he went out again without us.
Last Friday night we went out with my real friends.
Yeah.
So we've been asking to go out for 2 months now, 3 months.
I'm always available. I mean, it's really.
You're always available.
Now I will be next week.
Available.
On the weekends. Next week he is always available. So next week the kids are gone. I'm available.
Our neighbors. Again, I'm not a neighbor guy, but this is a couple that I really like. And they just reached out last minute. Hey, we're thinking about going out to Ridgewood. Love that place. Love that town. It's just a great town.
Good town.
And we went to a Persian restaurant, of all things, on the day that they're getting bombed. But that was just a coincidence.
There you go.
The food was absolutely fantastic.
Which one was it?
It starts with a P.
Was it
I heard
It's
there's
on
got a
by
really
the train?
road.
It's by the train station or no?
Well,
Like
it's
really
going
close-
up there. So you know where It's Greek to Me used to be?
Yes.
It's now called Meltemi Bear Burger.
Yeah.
It's
Bear
the
Burger.
block right before that.
Got it.
And it's there's a Lebanese restaurant, and then there's this Persian restaurant. The food was absolutely spectacular.
Love
it was
that.
so good. It starts with a P. I'm sorry I don't remember it, but Ridgewood. It starts with a P. It's a Persian restaurant. Parides or something like that.
Yeah, you could say anything.
It
I
was-
mean.
Yeah, right. Sounds good.
It
Popeyes.
Was, it
Popeyes.
was
Not
so
Popeyes.
good. It was
right.
so good.
Nice.
I like it.
But we got to go there.
All right.
Because it's got everything. It's got, because they're Persian, it's got a lot of vegetarian options
Lauren will be very
for
happy. Very happy.
for the less intelligent of us. And sorry, Lauren.
She just doesn't know how good meat is. It's just so good. Do we do another carnivore?
The human mind did not evolve over 6 million years sneaking up on a carrot.
Yeah, she sneaks up on those carrots like nobody's business.
You have to just grab it quick so it comes out perfect. You know?
Slides right out. Bang,
pull
right out
it.
of the ground. Rooted.
Right?
Really?
Only root vegetables.
Only
She's gonna go only to root vegetables now because she can't sneak up on
Yeah, sneak
on an
up, she's
acorn.
growing from trees.
Yeah.
Sees her coming.
Right? Freaking pear! Don't you dare! Pear knows you're coming from everywhere.
Pea.
360 degree.
You need to learn how to hunt wildebeest. You have to. The human brain had to evolve to work in community to take down a giant
Woolly mammoth.
woolly mammoth and feed the tribe.
So
Figure out
you
they-
think then someone who ate like Lauren, well, organic, gluten-free, no dairy, no grains, versus someone who ate commercially raised meat and vegetables and fruits is healthier?
No, I don't know many people. I can't even count on one hand many people who are healthier than Lauren.
Right. I just mean in
And she's been a vegan since she was 18 years old.
Yeah.
And she's muscular. She's 6 feet tall plus. She's, I mean, in her late 40s,
She'll be
and
50
she's got
in 2
muscle
weeks.
tone like
Oh, happy
She's got
birthday.
muscle tone
Don't say
like
that out
nobody's
loud.
business.
She looks like she's
But-
21.
But then for every one of her, there's whatever 99 people
Is
who are.
that just luck, or is it just that those other people are just not doing it properly?
Both.
Yeah.
Not luck, genetics
Yeah.
on top
Well,
of.
I call it luck.
That's luck.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
luck. Yeah. So if you had, because I always wonder which one, like, so not her, just in general, someone following a vegan diet properly versus someone who's eating meat with that diet, but the meat is commercially raised, high omega, 6
Six,
ratio, is which one of those is a better option? If I could only eat commercially raised meats or not have commercially raised meats and follow a vegan diet. So if they like a carnivore diet, commercially raised only, or a organic vegan diet, gluten free.
So for me personally, a vegan diet's gonna make me sick.
Okay.
Because I've not tried to be vegan, but I've gone that direction, a plant-based direction.
Yeah, plant based. I would rather say plant based.
Yeah, and it definitely was difficult for me to express health.
Which one's more inflammatory? The commercially raised meat has got to be highly
But again,
inflammatory.
A lot of
relatively, how inflammatory? When you say it's highly inflammatory,
Omegas,
relatively.
I mean, it's what is it, like 3 times the reverse in the. It's a ratio is completely opposite.
Yeah, the
times
omega-6,
3.
omega-3 ratio thing is a difficult thing because we can convert omega-6 into omega-3. They're both essential fatty acids. How you cook it is more relevant than the.
There's another caveat there.
So I think it's working against you if it's 4-1, 6-3,
Yeah.
as opposed to 40-1, 6-3. It's more difficult
Yeah,
with
you're
the
not
40
converting 40
Right.
to 1
Right.
over 3.
Right.
You're going to give up.
So what's the best way to
But
cook
if you're
meat?
cooking it well, so I think when
Just
it
eat
comes
it raw.
to, I think, well,
As raw as possible.
I think slow cooking is the best. Low temperature, slow cooking.
Like, how about
well
a sous
done.
vide? You know, what I'm
Sous
saying?
vide's great.
That's
It's
the
low
way to do it?
temperature. Yeah.
I have one. You want it? You have a sous vide?
I don't have
But
a CV.
there's
Well,
plastic involved, right?
Is
there plastic
I don't have
involved?
the time or give a fuck about that
Yeah.
thing at all. I want to punch that thing when I look at it.
Oh, but you want to be healthy, so how are you going to cook
But the
meat?
best tasting steak is going to be the
Seared
one
at
that
10,000
Right.
degrees. I mean, come on. You kidding me? With butter all over that damn thing.
Full of carcinogens.
God, yeah. You're making me hungry talking right now, man.
Sear the top of it, keep all the cancer on the inside. That's why it tastes so fucking good.
The best ones make that absolute perfect seal where
Right.
none of the cancer can
Cancer,
leave. None of it can leave.
None of your cancer.
God,
Out of here.
who could do that the best? I want to find that restaurant. I put a
Yeah.
challenge out there. Give me that
Give
one.
me the best cancer ever.
Oh, you come on, man. You know how good.
See, this is where AI is going to fail because
Yeah.
there's so many. So, for example, with gluten, right? People are like, "All right, go gluten free because of glyphosate and it's just an adulterated protein that we have a very difficult time digesting and it has a greater likelihood over a lifetime to create problems." Right? I side with that argument, but then there are people who are like, taking in foreign proteins into your body activates your immune system. That immune system activation is like anything else. It gives your immune system a workout,
It's a skill. You're developing a skill to
Yeah.
fight it off.
and you're fighting everything else off effectively or whatever. I don't. Logically, that argument makes sense, and you can probably find research to support that. You could find research to support the entire spectrum, especially when it comes to food and diet. You can't make decisions. There is no right and wrong. You know,
That's the problem.
when I have a patient for 6+ months and they're doing great after 3 to 6 months, and then it's like, all right, what do we do from here? The advice that I give you is not. I don't know you better than you now know yourself. You've just spent the last 3 to 6 months learning what works and doesn't work for you. All I can do in the beginning of our care is give you guidelines. You have to test it, pay attention, and now you know what works for you, right? So I can't tell you how to eat, but you know what you've been experimenting with for the last 3 to 6 months, and you have to decide.
You've been educated. You now have the information. Now
I'll look at the blood work. I'll look at the blood work and make recommendations based on that. But you have to look at how you feel, and
That's what I'm saying.
and how you feel
everyone
matters.
feels so great, and then people get on these programs and they feel terrific and like, I'm sleeping great, I have more energy, this is the best I've ever felt, and then they say dumb shit like, I'm gonna, in 3 months I can add blah blah
Pizza
blah back in, and I'm
Yeah.
like, but that's what got you this way. Like,
Right.
why would you go
Well,
back to that?
so the way to address that is the
just
objective.
tell them to shut the fuck up.
Well,
Yeah, that works.
That
That seems to work for you.
like that. Drives me crazy.
the objective is to
Heal the
go with
gut.
an elimination
Yeah.
process for a period of time, and then slowly reintroduce things. But you never want to go less than, let's say, 75% of what worked. Stay there. The other 25%, birthdays, weddings,
Yeah, that's what I mean. 80-20
travel.
rule. I mean, but there's no point where you add back in like.
No, if
Like-
you go back to the way things were,
I
you go
mean-
back
You
to
go
the
back
way
to the way
things
things
were.
Like I'll
Yeah.
be able, like Laura she's doing great, and she wants to add back in hummus. I'm like, yeah, at some point you'll be able to add back in hummus. Probably. I don't see hummus as like being the killer of all killers, right? Like I think you're gonna be fine. It's hummus, like, but then I have other
It's not cupcakes.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Cupcakes, like, but then then you have other patients like, oh, I can't wait to have pizza and French fries. I'm like, no, like you're like, what's wrong with you? Like, you just gotta like, why would someone say it's the best I've ever felt in my entire life? I can't wait to add back pizza and French fries.
Right.
I just want to.
You just got to the point where you were like, yeah.
people like that's.
Yeah.
Why can't
I got
do
a
that.
question with we're going back a little bit. Like you're talking about developing skills and food choice and everything like that. With the childhood allergies, like the stuff that didn't exist when we were growing up, which is not that long ago, relatively, right? I mean,
Vaccine related.
you can't say that. You don't think it's also because like
Sorry.
they're telling moms not to eat certain things while the baby's in the womb too? Like they're not getting those types of things, and they come out to this world and it's like deathly
to the protein.
yeah.
I think it's toxicities from the start, and then overexposure to the certain things. But I mean, I think that vaccines are because we all have kids or chiropractic kids and friends and who have these vibrant, insanely healthy kids that are machines, like
Yeah.
that are.
Do we know anybody who's not vaccinated vaccines that has food allergies or anything like that?
I can't.
I wonder.
Well,
I wonder
yes.
that.
Yeah, no.
So I don't think so much it has to do with that. I think it's before that.
Yeah. So we went to Park City years ago. So, I've been a member of UAC now since 2009. So when we joined and we started going to Park City, all the kids were young, and we have this great photograph of all the kids. So we used to rent these houses right next to each other, and in like 3 houses we had like 16 kids between the ages of 2 and 12, and we would go hiking, and they're all chiropractic kids, all of them. And they're competing with each other, and they're running and jumping, and who can do more pull-ups, and who can do the rings, and who can, And then from there, we went out to the West Coast to my wife's family, and they were all married to medical doctors, right? Neurologist, primary care physician, and neonatologist.
All sick.
And their kids, so we're out there. My kids are like, all right, we're in vacation mode. We're running, jumping, playing, and now we're going to California. We want to surf. We want to. Well, so-and-so is on antibiotics. They can't go in the sun. And so-and-so just had their tonsils out. And they're all the same age as my kids. So we're sitting at the table, the 3 doctors and myself, and we're drinking wine. And it's like 3 a.m, and we're hammered. And the conversation starts. And so, they're like, well, you raise your kids this way. So they're attacking me.
I love
right?
that.
They're attacking me. I'm like, guys, the only way that you're correct is if all 3 of you agree, because my children have never been on an antibiotic. They've never been sick. They've never anything. Fevers here and there, who cares? Ear infections that go away. I go, I'll accept your argument if you're all willing to accept the fact that the Giannopolis kids are genetically superior to all of your kids.
I say that all the time.
That's it.
Yeah.
There is no other way. Is it really just luck? Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
What was
between
the
the
answer to that?
ADHD medication. Well, again, they blame it on drinking. They couldn't think.
All right.
So it just devolved into insulting each other, and
Yeah, that's
the way it
I
went.
have that conversation during my orientation because Brendan's never taken a medicine or an Advil or anything in his entire life, and the last time I took a medicine I was 17. Right, so I have 35 years of I've never even been to a doctor since I was 17 years old, and I'm like, I said I can stand up here right now and say that we're genetically superior to all of you. We are just built different than all of you. We're just machines. And they're like, yeah. I said, except my son's adopted.
Right.
We don't even have the same genetic name. So we
Right.
have a lifestyle difference, and that's what you guys are missing. Is your
Ooh, I like that
Yeah.
little
And you
that
had-
little curveball.
Not
you
only
give to them,
that, but you're not genetically perfect. You had this
Right,
Ah,
that's what I
yeah,
tell
right.
them. And I have metal in my back,
yeah.
and so I'm absolutely the opposite of genetically perfect. But I live a lifestyle of health, and that's gotten me to where I am now. So that's the opportunity that you guys have here today. You could take it or leave it. But there's a difference between the kids that are non-medicated, non-vaccinated, and yes, I think allergies and all that is triggered by that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I'm
So
sure there's an effect.
there is the hypothesis. What do they call it? The cleanliness hypothesis, right? So the cleanliness hypothesis is that our kids are not getting out and chewing on dirt and all that stuff, and that's absolutely legit, right?
Yeah.
So our
My
kids are
kid's
just not
filthy.
being exposed to viruses and bacteria that we need to be exposed to, so our immune system is kind of getting that workout. So and you could start with from breastfeeding to C-sections and all this stuff. You could go all the way back. So I think a lot is contributing to it, but if we just think about the vaccines for a second, every one of those vaccines are based on viruses that we're supposed to inhale or ingest. So the proper way in which we deal with the entry of those viruses is through our gut. And then that starts the immunization process. What do? We bypass that whole system and we just
Put it right
directly
into-
inject it. And by injecting it, we don't have the immune response. So what do? We have to put an adjuvant into the vaccine. And that adjuvant is kind of like something that is so irritating to the immune system, screaming, "Hey, immune system, come over here." And then the immune system comes over there and it identifies a protein that shouldn't be there and hopefully makes an antibody to it. But now you have an immune system that's all jacked up on an exposure it was never evolutionarily designed to have. So it just makes perfect sense that it's going to either under or overreact instead of reacting the way we want it to, right?
Like normal.
So, yeah. So if it overreacts, and now it's starting to make antibodies not only to that protein, and therefore you can say, yes, we've reduced, polio or whatever.
Bullshit.
But now autoimmunity is going through the roof. Allergies are going through the roof. These hyperimmune responses.
How far off are those proteins from the proteins that are natural in our body? It's not, evolutionarily...
Proteins, right?
Yeah.
Self-proteins.
Yeah.
They're up.
So, of course, if it mimics a protein, it's got to attack that, and now it's going to attack our own body because those proteins are so very close.
So the mechanism for understanding how those things can negatively impact us is, all right, well, now scientists out there calculate the risk, and they won't do that. They won't do that. The only measure is we've reduced the incidence of chickenpox.
Can you make a vaccine to be ingested?
Yeah, well, we did that with polio. That is actually what worked the best. But the problem is if you have a sibling and you're changing their diaper and then there's a little bit on your...
Yeah.
Now you can, because you give an oral live virus was the best option because it's natural.
Yes.
It's attenuated, so it's not as pathogenic. But then you can give it to a sibling. And that was why I think in 1996 they stopped the oral live and went for the injectable. But there were like those the inhaled ones. Or whatever.
Right. No, still no on that.
The
Again,
flu one is there's a flu nasal one, right? Isn't there? The flu.
Flu? Why?
I don't know.
Don't get me started.
Right.
Don't get me started. I get very upset.
It's like we're never supposed to get sick.
I have so many problems in my life. I don't want to have another one.
By the way, do you know why we inoculate children with flu?
Why?
Because
Makes money.
Because the immune system of a senior citizen, yes, but the immune system of a senior citizen is so unreactive, non-responsive, that if you give an 87-year-old who clearly has an immune system that's not what it was, so now you give them the vaccine, and it doesn't really do anything. So they're not making
There's
any
no
antibodies.
response, right?
There's no response. And you don't want, because the flu is going to take them out, right? So what do? We vaccinate their grandkids so they don't bring, but they would never have a problem with the flu to begin with, and now you're sacrificing that child's
Forever.
Immune system forever, and they're not getting normal viruses that they're supposed to get. That
What about
prepares them
the
for
Survival of the fittest.
What about the link between chickenpox, measles, and cancer? Right? So they're saying that, I've read this somewhere, I don't know how true it is, but you would know this, that getting the measles and chickenpox and all these things as a child helps develop and prevent certain cancers as an adult. So now that we're vaccinating for chickenpox and measles, you're getting higher rates of cancers that were these were built to protect against for the future.
Right.
Did we learn incorrectly in school that getting the chickenpox as a child actually has given you the immunity against shingles in most cases when you got older? Wasn't that what we were taught, that natural active immunity?
There's specific cancers that chickenpox presents against. I don't remember which
Well,
one
because
it was.
now all the commercials that you see are saying, if you've had chickenpox, you're at risk for shingles. That's why you need to get your shingles vaccine.
It lies dormant in dorsal
It does,
ganglions.
but we always said that you have an immunity to it. That it's better to get the chickenpox when you're a child so that you can have a better opportunity of fighting off shingles when you get older, because shingles when you get older is probably a lot more dangerous than getting chickenpox when you're younger.
The